Today on Seeing This.
I don't know if it's the same amongst boys, but there is this weird cultural stigma around like stealing at one point in your life, especially as girls, whether that's like shoplifting or just like, stealing small like lip glosses or stuff like that.
I'll plead the fifth as far as it being applicable to boys as well.
Is that something that you dared each other to do?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. We would. I don't even think the stores are still around. Like Anchor Blue, like we would just go and steal all their colognes and watches and like. You can't.
Oh, you're
do
going
that.
big
Like
time.
we would
You're
like
going big
be at the
time.
mall, just like, oh, I'm gonna get that video game right there from like GameStop. we were knuckleheads.
Welcome to Seeing This. I'm the movie Mamba, Mike Ornelas, and man, they did Timon dirty in this one. Joining me on the pod is the feisty Pisces Erica McMullen.
we love a klepto.
Also on the podcast is the Gerber baby-faced assassin Adrian Cedeno.
The devil's hand made me smoke the devil's lettuce.
And that's all in reference to today's movie review, Left-Handed Girl.
I'm obsessed with that.
That's good. Yeah, that was a good one. You win the award for today's opening, Adrian. So change of scenery for me. Things have been hectic. I just moved, so my background's a little different. I'm still trying to figure out how that'll be set up. I also am overcoming a cold. So if my cognitive performance is off more than normal, that's my excuse.
It's going to be the same.
Yeah, more or less. Going to mispronounce and yeah, whatever. But yeah, so Left-Handed Girl, our movie review for this week. But before we get into that, what have we seen this week? Erica, kick us off.
Girl, it is Christmas, and I have been devouring Christmas movies. We've done Miracle on 34th Street.
The original, like the way back
The
original?
original, yes, the
Oh, wow.
original. I don't know what my mom's deal is with the Richard Attenborough one, but she just does not. Probably because it's a remake, and her and my dad are always like anti-remake.
The original's better. Yeah.
The original is better, but for an adaptation for people who were growing up and like needed, like I thought that the Richard Attenborough one, it did its job. So we've done that. While You Were Sleeping, we got that one off the list. That one's just so fun. It's so hilarious and stupid and corny and Sandra Bullock, and it's just like it's super, super fun.
I think when we did our original holiday draft, you took that one, right?
Yes,
And
because it's so funny. Like it's so, so good.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we've just been devouring anything Christmas recently.
It's December. Hit the Christmas movies. That's when
Yeah.
it starts. All right, love it. Adrian, what have you been watching? What are you seeing?
I'll say Christmas has begun at home, so I've already seen Elf a handful of times. Home Alone. Me and my daughter actually had a little debate about the best Christmas movie ever, and I said it was Home Alone. And she's only 7, and she was like, "No way! Like, how can you say it's better than Elf?" And I was like, "Oh, hold your roll."
Somebody
big.
on Instagram, like, you know how sometimes they have like movie accounts who do like polls and stuff like that? One of the bigger ones did a huge poll with like all of the films, all of like the iconic ones, and Home Alone won. It was Home Alone and The Nightmare Before Christmas that were in the final against each
Oh,
other,
nice.
and Home Alone won. So I agree with you.
Nice.
That's like such a
Yeah.
classic.
For sure. So we've been watching Christmas movies, but I also watched Good Fortune.
Oh,
Keanu
okay.
Reeves, Seth Rogen, Aziz.
You
and
liked it,
Bard.
huh?
Yeah, it was funny. It was like it was like a new Trading Places, from 1983 with Eddie
interesting.
Murphy. So
Mm.
it was a similar concept, but they added Keanu Reeves as an angel that makes this all happen. Makes the switch happen. It was funny, comedic. I liked it. It was good.
Did it meet your expectations as far as humor goes? Because when you have Seth Rogen and Aziz, I think you expect a certain level of comedy.
No, I
can see you're a little hesitant with. Yeah,
I wanted it funnier, but it was good,
Okay.
and I wanted more from like Keanu Reeves, even though he did like his role really well. Like he's supposed to be like a dumb kind of like angel. Like, really? I'm supposed to do
Keanu
that.
Reeves.
Right. I wanted more from like his character, you know.
Keanu's such a fascinating actor because I feel like he could be like the perfect actor for a given role. Like, obviously Speed, Interview with a Vampire is pretty rough. Like it kind of depends, or sorry, not Interview with the Vampire. Is it Dracula
I
that
think
he's
it's a
in?
Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. So like there's some that he's really good in and then others where it's kind of like, can he act? But he's great.
This
But he's
is all
great.
I'm gonna say about Keanu. Like he's just one of those like familiar faces that you're always gonna enjoy. Like you're gonna like the movie probably. He's not like some fantastic, crazy, great actor like we have like there's some actors where you're like, "Oh my god, like it's just an unbelievable performance." I don't think that we've ever really gotten that from Keanu. But he's such a decent human being that nobody
Sure.
gives a fuck. Like, nobody cares if he's, like,
Right.
a decent, halfway good actor. Like, he's just such a decent human, and so I think people just love him for that too. But
And he's got his whole John Wick franchise that,
yeah.
is just taken
Well, I
off.
mean,
So,
you're
like, he's
missing, like, the
obviously good.
biggest one he's ever been in, which is kinda crazy.
Which one?
The Matrix.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was
Yeah,
like,
but
"You've mentioned literally everything but The Matrix."
that's my point. Like he can be in a movie where it's like no one else but him could be in that role, but then there's
Yeah.
some where it's kind of like he sticks out a bit, you know what I mean? But nothing but love for Keanu. On my end, I've been catching up on For Your Consideration, which is movies that are being screened or screeners being sent. As part of the Portland Critics Association, we have our awards, and it's an opportunity for us to see movies that have come out this year that either aren't widely available or haven't come out yet, but they want to be considered for, end of year consideration. I watched this animated film called Arco. Very cute, at times silly, but perpetually imaginative. It's essentially about this boy who's from the future, and him and his family travel as rainbows. They turn into rainbows to travel across time and whatnot. And this young boy, Arco, is too young to fly, so he steals his sister's suit, goes flying, and gets stuck in, I guess you could call it like near future, where robots are taking care of kids, where the parents are off working and they just appear on like holograms, and befriends this little girl, tries to make his way home, has some ET energy in that way as far as trying to get home. But there's different aspects of the future and like imagination that's very creative. Again, it is a bit silly sometimes, but by the end, it's a very nice story. So that's Arco. I also watched Train Dreams, which is on Netflix right
I
now.
want to check that out. I kind of looked over it. Looked interesting.
Yeah. So I think it's one, like you mentioned, Rebuilding at AFI Fest, as it's kind of like heavy and depressing as far as someone losing everything. Similar energy. Beautifully shot, an incredibly beautifully shot movie. I think it's the same director, if I'm not mistaken, as Sing Sing, which we covered on the pod earlier. And it looks beautiful. The acting is incredible. There's a few people that pop up and I'm like, hey,
I know you.
yeah, William H. Macy, it could be in the running for best supporting actor. I'll say that.
Oh, wow.
But very poetic and very, I wanted a bit more, but it's still enjoyable. It was still a good movie. So I'd recommend checking that out on Netflix. And one last movie I saw last night, also on Netflix, Jay Kelly. So this is the one with George Clooney and Adam Sandler. I know Sandler's your boy, Adrian, so I'm curious to see if you check that out, what you'll think, because I don't think it's your kind of movie.
I didn't think it was. I saw them at AFI, so at the film festival they
That
were
it was
there.
screening, but you didn't see the movie.
No, I didn't see the movie. It was like full. I wasn't able to get in, but they made an appearance too on like the little red carpet there. So it
Oh,
was like
right.
a big event.
It has that feel of like a George Clooney 90s movie, like it's a movie that you don't see too often anymore. That would have been a big hit in the 90s. Clooney's great. It's great to see him acting in a role that is meant for him. It's about an aging actor that's kind of reflecting on his career and the decisions he's made through his career, and at times at the cost of family. And he's kind of reflecting on these things. It's fine. It's a good movie. I think it's moving in certain areas, but it's also one of those things like you don't feel too much. For me, I didn't feel too much empathy for him by the end of it,
Got it.
because it's like you made all these decisions to get you
Mm.
to this point. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So the redeeming factor is kind of lacking, but nonetheless, good performances. I think Sandler was kept in the bottle a bit. You know, a lot of his performances are great when he gets to like release
Yell.
his emotional energy and yell. And I feel like he was on a bit of a leash almost. But that was directed by Noah Baumbach. And you know, it's a good movie. It's fine. It's fine. Well, that's what we've seen this week. Let's jump into Left-Handed Girl.
Have you seen this?
Have you seen this?
Have you seen this?
I know, I've seen this. I know this.
Adrian, do you have our letterbox
I
description
do.
there ready to go? All right, what do we got?
All right, so we got Left-Handed Girl, directed by Shi Ching-soo. A mother and her 2 daughters move to Taipei to open a noodle stand at a vibrant night market, but family secrets and tradition test their fresh start.
Another wonderful example of a great letterbox description that doesn't say much but says everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To open up, Left-Handed Girl, written by Sean Baker, co-written by Sean Baker and Shin Ching. So they both wrote it together. She's the director. And I'm really curious when I saw this, what you guys would think of this, because we have been on a bit of an international film as far as coverage goes. So Erica, just opening thoughts, spoiler free. What did you think of Left-Handed Girl?
I actually really liked this.
Okay.
It's really interesting because culturally, right? I don't know if it's the same amongst boys, but there is this weird cultural stigma around like stealing at one point in your life, especially as
Mm,
girls, like whether that's like shoplifting or just like, stealing small like lip glosses or stuff like that. Like there's very much a culture around that just growing up. And it's really interesting to see it from the perspective of like this little girl who essentially is just blaming her left hand. It's not me. It's my left hand. Like I wouldn't do
mhm,
this normally. Like this is not the person I am. This is the person that my left hand is. So like seeing
mhm.
that like from her perspective was I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you know, it's not too spoilery. Like that's just a very basic premise that happens in
Yeah,
the
that's
movie.
just like the flat.
There's so much more to unpack in this movie, but to your point, I think culturally, not just as a young little girl, and I'll plead the fifth as far as it being applicable to boys as well. Uh,
Well, I
but
don't
I
know,
think,
like, is that something that you like, think about it, like, when you were, because I know that, like, I didn't have friends like that, like, I didn't hang around with people, like, there was definitely obviously, like, "Oh my god, I
People like
wish I
what?
had that,"
People like what?
but I never, like, stole as a kid, like, I was petrified of stealing,
of
like,
getting in trouble.
absolutely petrified of stealing, and so, it's that Catholic guilt, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, I'm curious, like, is that just, like, something that you're like, "Oh, like, you won't steal that," or, like, is that something that you dared each other to do or anything like that?
What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, we did.
The
Like, we
statute of
would go to
limitations has passed, you're fine,
Yeah, yeah, for
like
sure. We would I don't even think the stores are still around, like Anchor Blue, like, we would just go and steal all their colognes and watches and, like, you
Oh,
can't
you're
do
going
that, like,
big time.
we would,
You're
like,
going
be
big
at the
time.
mall just like, "Oh, I'm gonna get that video game right there from, like, GameStop," and it would be, like, an
we're talking
empty
about
case,
grand
but you
theft
risked
here.
the biscuit to try to get it. Yeah, like, we were just like, "Oh, watch," like, "Tell me I
I'm
won't."
over here remembering taking like a little like soft foam globe as a kid, like just taking it and walking out, and you're over here like watches, cologne, video
We
game.
were knuckleheads,
Yeah,
but that was definitely, like, a phase, like, it
yeah.
faded real quick.
All right. Well, what'd you think of the movie?
I mean, it was good. It's an enjoyable movie. It's I think for me, like I need like a moral. I need like a punchline. I need something because it's just watching poverty-stricken people. Like, yeah, that this happens all the time. This is real life. Like and there was no real like closure. Like we're just watching them, you know. I don't know. It's good. I enjoyed it, but you know what I mean? Like there's no moral. There's no like we're just watching shitty people in shitty situations try to
So
overcome.
when you say punchline, I think you mean you need like a messaging behind the
Yeah,
film.
yeah,
Like you
like
need something to land where we
yes,
learn.
I need something to
I
land the plane,
think there was
like you like to say all the
messaging
time.
for me, right? I think there was, right? So, without spoilers, obviously, I can get into it, but like life goes on. You know what I mean? Like, I think that
Mm-hmm.
was like very beautifully put with how, especially how dramatic that last like 20 minutes is. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the end of them just kind of moving forward and, getting back to the grind, like that's just life. Like they can't sit around and wait and think and dissect and let this affect them. They just kind of got to move forward as best as they know how. And I think that was important because it kind of just tailors to kind of like you said, like this happens everywhere. Like people who are in
Mm-hmm.
impoverished communities, like this happens on a daily basis. People have to steal to survive and to make money and to make sure that they're settled and have a roof over their head. And so it may be like very simple and maybe a little dull, but for the majority of people, that is how life is.
So for me, like I don't I don't really necessarily want to watch a movie that is about like I go to movies somewhat to escape, somewhat to be in like
Mm.
a different reality, you know what I mean? Somewhat to leave my troubles or what I experience, my traumas, whatever I go through on a daily basis, whatever I see on a daily basis out in the hood. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to go in and watch a movie that's just showing me more of it. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? Like that's I think where it was for me. Like, okay, if I'm gonna watch this, like there's gotta be some kind of like moral, like teaching somebody like how to be a good person. Like these were like nothing really was accomplished except like, hey, this is a tough situation and this is just
Okay,
how
let's
these
get into
people handled
spoilers
it.
then.
Well, let me give my high level thoughts real
Okay,
quick.
okay, okay.
And in order, if that's all right, and in order to do that, I have to bring in my special guest here, who is Willem Dafoe from a movie I've talked about in the past,
I can't.
the
We're
Florida
so
Project.
obsessed with him.
Uh, he's our boy, right? He's our boy. Let me get Willem Dafoe from the Florida Project. Again, I'm spoiler alert. This is my double feature recommendation. Um, but I think it goes really well together because Sean Baker directed and wrote Florida Project, and then, like I mentioned, he co-wrote this movie. So this is a scene from the Florida Project.
Second week of the summer, and there's already been a dead fish in the pool.
We were doing an experiment. We were trying to get it back alive. That was my idea.
And water balloons thrown at tourists. You can't fuck with tourists.
They didn't tip
Are you
us.
serious?
No.
Oh my god, this is unacceptable. I failed as a mother, Mooney. You've disgraced me.
Harley.
Yeah, Mom, you're disgraced.
There you go. Where is the supervision from the parents in this movie? Our what's her name? I Jing, is that her name? Correct? Did I get that
Yeah.
right, Adrian?
The little girl?
Correct.
Yeah. Aijing.
Yeah, she's running around, and maybe that speaks to something culturally, that she's just running around the market unsupervised and just getting into all kinds
Well,
of
are we
trouble,
getting
to
into
what you alluded
spoilers?
to,
Because I
Erica.
can explain. I think I can explain why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no other choice, really, right? Like that, it's
Well,
someone's
no,
got to
I
run the
mean,
stand because
well, think about it, right? Are we getting into spoilers? Because okay, cool. I don't want to give
sure.
anything away if we're not ready.
Before we get to
Yeah,
spoilers,
there it
I'll
is.
just say that I really enjoyed this movie. I think that this is probably a top 5, if not top 3 movie for me, because to what you're saying, Adrian, like I think what I took away from it also is the cultural nuance of a family moving to Taipei, what's expected of them, of their parents. And we kind of see a family dynamic with the mother, who is making choices that has put her into a certain financial predicament, right? And the pressure that comes from your parents, and then even those parents the old customs or old beliefs they have and how that can have a generational effect on the family. I really enjoyed all of that. And I think it's something that, people across Asia can relate to, and then even across like even Latin families to an extent, right? Maybe not exactly the same, but there's certain nuances that I think transcend borders, but also are very specific to the Asian culture. And before we jump into spoilers, let's quickly do our Commodus Scale. Thumbs up, even or down. What did you think, Adrian? Is it a thumbs up,
I got
even
it
or
even.
down? Even.
Even.
Wow. Okay. Specifically because you didn't find messaging in it. You didn't take it. Was too just
No, like as I'm watching it, I kind of went through. I kind of felt like an Erica moment. Like I was like, nobody in this movie is a good person except for the soap salesman. You know what I mean? Like he was the
Johnny.
only good dude in, like the only good person in this whole movie. So like
Aijing
in
is
that sense,
good.
I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
Don't do that to my
I don't
girl,
know, man.
Aijing.
she's got a devil's hand. She's got a devil's hand.
I think to say like a good person is pretty harsh. Like none of us are good people if you're
Okay,
talking that kind
maybe
of
it is a
standard,
little
you know what I
harsh
mean?
because none of us are. Like for real, like I shouldn't maybe say that, but I don't know how Erica phrases it when she says like they're just not necessarily like a person you can root for in the movie. Like I'm not
Wow.
I'm not
That's so
rooting for
fascinating.
anybody except for that dude Johnny.
Not even Aijing.
I'm rooting for everyone because you see people.
I mean, there's nothing like against her. Like I just know, like, okay, she's the left-handed girl. Like this sucks, and I get it. I'm curious how old she is. Like, is she 7?
I think she's like 6 because when she gets introduced to the school, it feels like a kindergarten or first grade level.
Like the Florida Project. Like no.
And you didn't like that either, huh?
No, I
Because of the
liked it.
same idea.
It's not that I didn't like this movie. It's just like it's even because it's not like, oh man, I really didn't like it, or it's not like, man, I really love that. It really hit me. It was like, yeah, that's real. Like, and I'm just watching like badass kids go through it like we were, like latchkey kids are like that. Like
Wow,
you're
that's
figuring stuff
fascinating.
out, you're learning on the fly, like out there on the street. Like that's just the way
For
it
sure.
is. Like I get it, but there's no moral to it. There's no like closure. You know what I mean? Like
we gotta get ourselves a spoiler so we can debate that a little bit more. Erica, Commodus Scale, where are you going?
Thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up. I really enjoyed this. I think it is an important film for people to watch. I think, like you said, Michael, we're trying to bring more international films to light and get people to watching them because I think part of like that morality, or maybe even like what Adrian was saying, where he doesn't want to go into a film to like see things that he's already experienced. But I think that's so uniquely brilliant is that you're not the only one experiencing that, right? This is happening, like, doesn't matter gender, race, where you're at. It's happening everywhere. So I kind of liked that relatability.
For sure. I mentioned already, it's a thumbs up for me. As soon as I saw Ian, who for sake of spoiler-free discussion, I'll say the sister, was wearing a Pink Floyd shirt a couple times in this movie.
Fucking hell, dude.
And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. Sean Baker
You have
knows.
issues.
Shine on, you left-handed girl. But no, I mean, I think the script was incredible. I think it was propulsive. There wasn't necessarily a dull moment. They try to capture a lot of different things with the family dynamic, with the dad, with work, both the mom and the older daughter, and what those dynamics are. The grandparents and that old school thinking, which I think, again, across cultures, you can kind of relate to, a bit outdated. What era are you living in? I think Ian says at some point. But I really enjoyed it. But let's get into spoilers so we can talk a little bit more freely.
Spoiler alert.
So Aijing ultimately is left-handed, and her grandpa says that that's the devil's hand, right? They go to visit the grandparents, and once she's told that, she takes it quite literal, right? And that's where she starts going on her klepto spree.
Yeah.
And she's going to all the shops around where her mom's noodle stand is and just taking little toys or whatever. And to your point earlier, Erica, like, totally, like, she's looking at, like, she knows what she's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she has this devil hand to blame it on and making her do it. Meanwhile, her mom is opening this noodle stand. It's inferred that she's taken on a lot of debt or has financial problems because she's paid off
Her ex-husband's
her
debt.
ex-husband's debt. And now he's sick and dying. And Ian, the older sister, is like, what are you doing? You owe him nothing. The mom's sisters are like, what are you doing? Like, everyone is like, this is why you're in the position you're in. And I think it's fascinating because culturally, again, I think there's very much a taboo if you're divorced. You know, there's a lot of dynamics in that regard. And they really stress how she feels obligated to him still, even through all that, even if it gets her into the position that she's in.
And they
What
don't
I
really
wanna
tie
di-
that in until the very end too. Like I did like that part. Like they didn't tie that whole her obligation maritally to him
Right.
until the
Right.
end when, you know, she slaps her and she's like, you know, you'll never have a kid. You'll never be married if you already have a kid. Like, let me
Right.
take this hit from you.
Yeah,
And
right.
she's just like, why does that matter to you? Like, why do I need to be married?
Right. And that comes back to the generational thinking, right? And culture and tradition. But you're alluding to like the big spoiler in the movie that Ayan is actually Aijing's mother and had her very young. And it's all been kind of a front. Again, the mom trying to protect Ayan. Did you guys see that coming at all? What or when it was revealed, was it like, oh shit?
I realized it was Ian's kid when she went to go visit her dad in the hospital.
Oh, interesting.
I
Why?
knew
How?
then, I was like, that's her daughter. Because you have to think, right? Because then things are starting to piece this thing together. They left Taipei. They were gone for a certain amount of time. By the time and like, if you do the math, when she went to go visit the dad in the hospital to tell him, like, don't call my mom no more. Don't ask her for help. Don't ask her for money. None of that. Like, leave her the fuck alone. She's not your problem. I was like, when she said that comment to him when he was looking at Aijing, I was like, oh, that's her kid. I knew it immediately.
Interesting.
I did too.
You figure that you
that's
clocked
when it
that
hit
too,
me.
huh?
Yeah, when it hit me was when she said it, and like the way she looked at
She was
him.
like, it's unbelievable, right?
My mother was with another man. Like she couldn't wait for you. Like I was like, nope. Like that's
because you also, that's a good point, because you can tell that the mom is so traditional that she probably had a hard time even when she eventually like gave Johnny a chance, right? It's like, hey, wait for me after work. We'll have a drink.
And
what
like,
I didn't get,
like, sorry, go ahead.
What I didn't get fully was, were they really divorced? Or was it because like maybe the daughter got pregnant and so she like had to leave? Like before your father finds out, before anybody finds out, we gotta go.
No, I think
I don't think so.
So I think it's backwards. I think that she was dealing with him leaving, like dealing with her dad leaving, and then she got pregnant after that, and so then they moved away from Taipei.
And I think like the being in debt, that situation in Asian culture is a whole nother level, right? Like if you've seen Parasite, right? Homeboy is hiding in, spoiler alert for Parasite if y'all at home haven't seen Parasite, but Homeboy is hiding in like the basement dungeon of a house to hide from debt collectors. So I think the idea is that yes, they were married. He like dipped out to avoid this debt. She had to pay off these debts to get him out of trouble and potentially the family out of trouble, which then there's no more money. We got to move to Taipei, right? And that's something that I wanted to mention that I really appreciate about this movie is it's not heavy-handed at all with these assumptions, right? Like it makes us kind of assume and put together parts of this puzzle, not in a very confusing way, like it's logical the way they can come together, but we do need to do that to construct some of the backstory.
Yeah, it's very real.
Right. It's practical as far as like, okay, these are the series of events that has happened, but it's not like exposition dumped on you, which I think is a testament to great writing. My opening line, they did Timon dirty. The dad ends up dying and has a meerkat, is the only thing he left or had left for the family. So Aijing names it Gugu, right?
Yeah,
Gugu.
Google.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought you could have a meerkat as a pet?
You can't.
Well,
I mean, she was in there like petting it, and I thought this thing like, oh, it's gonna bite her any second now. Like this thing has rabies for sure.
well,
They're
again,
kinda
it's
cute
like
and
in
cuddly,
different countries. I think that also shows how smart animals are, right? This thing's like playing fetch, and unfortunately, she tosses the ball with her left hand when she's already discovered it's her devil hand. Goes out the window, and you just hear car brakes screeching and people screaming, and poor Gugu goes running out of the balcony.
like a 3rd-story balcony, just lands on some motorcycle guy. Come on.
And
that part was comedy. I'm sorry, but with the videos that they're like showing on the news of it falling
news
on
report?
the motorcyclist was hilarious.
There's a little blood spot in the street. We don't know if it was from the meerkat or from the biker. I'm like,
He's like, "Can I go see it?"
what a accident to be in. You're just on your motorcycle or your moped and fucking, what they say, like a cat, a mouse the size of a cat
or
or
a
something.
possum.
Yeah.
yeah. It just comes flying out of a window.
Imagine he was like late to work and he's like, "Well, you're never gonna believe this, but a meerkat fell on me when I was riding my motorcycle."
Right. And I think that moment is comedic, but the performances by everyone, specifically Aijing, are phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, I would have her, when we get to our end of year awards, I would nominate her as best lead actress. Like, what a great job by Nina Yi. Yeah, incredible job. Plays a child so correctly. And what I mean by that is, like, it's not like a child actor. She's just being a kid. Like, she's just being a kid throughout, and it's very emotional at times, her performance and what she's giving, but it's still very like accurate and not over the top, in both high and low moments in the character's journey. So one thing I also wanted to touch on is, there's this whole dynamic of Ayan making money for herself, right? And she ends up working, I want to get it right, but
a nut bar?
What was it? A banut bar, right? Which I don't know if you guys looked into what that was, but apparently it's very big there in Taiwan, and it's essentially like a stand where blue collar workers will come to get this nut that acts as like an upper, right? Like truck drivers and people that need to stay up late will take this, and it gives you a bit of a high to keep you going. It does have like cancer risks. Apparently, it's not a healthy thing. But the cultural dynamic of it is apparently like a bikini barista, right? Like they get women that are a bit provocative and wearing sexy clothes to sell these at the stand. And it's questionable what other activities happen through this nut stand. No pun intended.
You can say pun intended.
But it's fascinating to look into that like dynamic that I had no idea what that was. I had to look into it a little bit.
I was curious. I didn't know what the heck it was too. I thought it was like some kind of drug. Like, but then they were eating it like it was like a snack.
It's like
so
the
I'm
equivalent
But they
of
have
like
a spit cup too.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's like the
chew.
equivalent of like a coca leaf in Peru, where like you chew it and it's not quite cocaine, but it still has like the properties to give you like it helps with like the altitude sickness and motion sickness and stuff like that. But kind of the same
Right.
deal. But like
And
you said, it's still a cancer risk, you know what I mean?
2 for 200, apparently. Is that what the deal was?
Yeah.
which is pretty much like what I imagine is getting a flash. Hence
Yeah.
why I say kind of like a bikini barista, from what I understand, the stories I hear. Anyways, we'll move forward.
Or easy here.
Plead the fifth again. Overall, I think the biggest takeaway from this, to your point, Adrian, that there wasn't messaging, I think it's the weight of all this secrecy that the family had was bearing down on their relationship. It was all very subconscious and it was all very unspoken. So when we have that climax at grandma's birthday, I mean, what, like, to your point, Erica, like the last 20 minutes are on a whole different level.
It's so
Like,
chaotic.
the chaos that happens in the last 20 minutes, like Ian was pregnant by her
Mhm.
boss, who we see them essentially fucking at the stand, loses the baby, but they don't know it. And apparently he's married this whole time. And again, we go into the,
So, loses the baby, or did she call her friend to, like, have some type of, like, abortion pill?
which friend? Sorry, I missed that.
So remember her friend that she reconnects with that she went to school with?
Uh-huh.
I think she calls her. Doesn't she call her when she's finds out? Who does she call?
I don't recall that.
I think she calls someone to have an abortion pill. I don't think she
But we don't
l
see her take anything, right?
but that's what I think it's implied by the phone call.
She just gets
That's
up
what I
with
Mm.
was
like this
confused
pain.
about. I was like, did she take a pill or did she lose it or
I took that she just lost it because I don't even remember her doing a call like that. I think they would have implied it a bit more if that was the case, but ultimately she loses the kid.
yeah.
We kind of see her, like Adrian, you're saying, has pain, and goes to the restroom and essentially implies that there's a miscarriage. But the wife is confronting her at the birthday banquet, which is like, you know, it's like a fuse on dynamite is lit and you just see it running and like, oh
All
shit,
I'm
this
gonna
is gonna go
say
off.
is the grandma was doing some shady things, and so karma.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Granny's like passing judgment on her daughter, right? Plays favorite to the young son because, again,
Very much culturally implied, yeah.
right. And the fact that she, in the meantime, is like bringing in people from, I believe, China to then get into the US with like fake passports. And she's kind of like
Mhm.
the middle person handling all that and would have gone to jail
It's
when
a
the police show
handler.
up.
It's a
A
handler,
handler.
yeah.
Would have gone to jail, but Ai Jing stole the envelope and passports to pawn off for her mom to get some money because she's having trouble make rent at the noodle stand, right? And this all kind of comes to a head at this birthday banquet. And I just loved a few things. I love me a Chinese restaurant, like proper sit down Chinese restaurant with like a lazy Susan where you like do
Yeah.
family style. Like there's nothing like it, right? So that took me back to my days in San Francisco with great Chinese food. But secondly, how each daughter or each family member goes up and it's such like a performative, like ass kissing to the mom for her birthday, which is probably genuine, but it's again custom. Like you could tell that there's custom
I
Mhm.
mean,
behind it.
we did that for
Yeah?
my mother-in-law.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
their 70th birthday, we did like my wife wanted to do a big shindig, so we had a big old party, rented a hall, DJs, the whole nine, and then everybody got up and
Oh,
did their
that was not too long ago, right?
nah,
That was
not
like
too long
last
ago.
week or something.
No, it was like last year.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, she just had her birthday not too long ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, but the previous year, got it.
Correct.
Yeah, but I mean, but again, I think there's cultural aspects to that as well, right?
I mean, there's
Mhm.
definitely like it's definitely relatable. It's not just the Asian culture.
Right.
It's definitely a Latin culture too. We're definitely into family, and we're
For sure.
gonna pay respects to our mothers, and if the fathers are around still, then we pay respects to them. But if they're not, more times than not, you know, it is what
Sure.
it is. So it is very
Sure.
cultural. It is very ritualistic and proper and paying your respects. But my beef was with A Ming, that fool. Like, why do you bring
Oh,
in your wife to the party when you're trying to
yeah.
talk to her about adopting? Like, hey, we want that. And even then, that was another thing on the air of an Asian family. Like, hey, we need to we want to pass it on to a male heir.
We need a boy.
Well, it's
Like,
his
boy, it's
genetics,
ours.
right? It's her husband's genetics, so she's like, at that point, like, that baby doesn't belong to you anymore. It's not necessarily like adoption. For them, it's like,
Right.
that's not yours
It's our kid.
anymore. It's our
Yeah.
kid because it's my husband's baby. Yeah.
So wild.
Like I said,
Mhm.
that fool had no business
Punk.
bringing. Yeah, he had no business. Like he could have gone in. Like if
He
he
had
really
no
want.
business doing what he was doing in the first place.
To your point about there not being like people to root for, he is probably the worst of everyone in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
Him and the
he's got
grandpa.
this. The grandpa's old school.
Yeah, he
I
just
mean, yes.
knucklehead.
Yeah, but the whole time you just want to tell him, just shut up, dude. Like,
Yeah.
she's
yeah.
6.
But you
Yeah.
want to do that with your own grandparents, you know? Like, dude, be quiet. Like, don't talk anymore. Just,
Yeah. Sometimes we got to do that with you, Adrian, but that's a different topic.
I'm just as old.
Well, nonetheless, excuse me. Left-handed Girl. I really enjoyed it. Erica really enjoyed it. Adrian's on the fence. I'm curious. Did you watch this one alone, or did you watch with wifey? Or
I watched it alone.
Alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But definitely would recommend worth watching at least.
So how did you guys watch it? Because there are a few different ways you can watch it on Netflix. Like, you could watch it in the native language and then with English subtitles, or you can watch
That's
it
what
with
I
like an
did.
English dubbing where it's
I did, Mandarin with English subtitles.
okay.
What'd you do?
I watched both. I did half with the English
Interesting.
dubbing, which I think
was
I need
that
to
the
rewatch.
first half?
Yeah, with the English dubbing, and then I said, maybe I'm missing something. Like, I feel like maybe what
For
they're
sure.
saying is different than what maybe I should be
Yeah.
reading. So then the halfway point, I was like, okay, let me change it and see.
And it's not so much as like the content that might be different, because translators, like, that's easy for them to do. It's more of like, especially with Asian cultures, like where they do their inflections. So like when
Right.
you see that and then when you read what they're saying, you kind of get more of like the emotion and like kind of like the thought process behind like what you'll relate to it a lot more when you're like,
yeah, that's where I was
the
getting at. Like,
audacity, like
that's where I was getting at. Like, I can definitely feel more emotion and see more of the emotion when it was their normal, like what's really coming out of their mouth, as opposed to
the Mandarin language.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
It was just.
Yeah. I as soon as they were like unloading the truck, like within the first scene of the move, it originally was English, and I was like, "Nah, this is wrong." Like,
same. No.
like you could feel it.
It like had the English dub, right? And I was like listening to it. I was like, "Are they speaking English?" And I was like, "Go back to Mandarin." Like I want to hear,
sure.
I want to hear it, and then I want to be able to read
So
what's going
definitely put it on the original language Mandarin
Yeah.
when you check this out. Again, if you've made it to spoilers and you haven't seen it, go watch it in Mandarin. That's the way to do it. But we're running long. Let's get to our double feature. What would you pair with Left-Handed Girl? Adrian, kick us off.
All right. So I went with a similar like parental movie, but you guys know me, definitely lighthearted. I'm gonna go Knocked Up. That one was very realistic to me, having kids early. Very familiar, but very funny, and I still quote some of those lines today. So Knocked Up, definitely lighthearted, makes it a little rounds it out. You know, there's definitely a message and a punchline, and you know, it's a whole story. Check it out. Knocked Up matches up pretty good with this.
It's a way to stay on brand, Adrian. I love that. Erica, where would you go for a double feature?
So I think I'm gonna stay with a Christmas theme, just because if people are watching this like during this time, like this would be a great follow-up, because it's kind of like another, you're seeing it from one perspective, but everybody's kind of feeling it differently, or they see it differently. But I'm gonna go with It's a Wonderful Life. I think that the end reveal of that, of like kind of figuring out, like kind of figuring out like who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. I mean, even obviously, like in today's day and age, we all know the banks are the fucking evil people anyway. So you kind of already go into that knowing that. But I think like perspective wise, kind of just how we got like Aijing's perspective of like how she's seeing it versus like how we're all seeing the events playing, like watching it as adults. I think that would be like a good festive way, a little bit more lighthearted, but still kind of like that same different perspective kind of movie.
So my double feature, as I mentioned earlier, is the Florida Project, Sean Baker film. A lot of overlapping themes, specifically about the perspective from a kid's point of view, American culture, I think maybe you can say, Southern culture taking place in Florida. Again, superb performances across the board in that movie, specifically by the children. If you haven't seen the Florida Project, I think it's a must-see just for like guerrilla style filmmaking, which is something Sean Baker does better than I think maybe anybody. And the way he works with kids, it's fascinating. It's
That was the
fascinating.
first
So
Sean Baker movie I saw, and I mean, it's very similar to this, just from a different setting. But
yeah.
you saying that, I want to change my double feature because I just thought of the best, and it will never come up again. Bebe's Kids. It was an animated movie about a guy trying to date this. I think it was Martin Lawrence voiced it, but I could be wrong. It's an animated movie about a guy trying to date this woman who has 3 kids, and her name is Bebe, so it's Bebe's Kids, and they're terrors. These little punk ass kids are just ghetto, and it's a funny movie, but definitely not allowed in this day and age.
So it's from 1992, directed by Bruce W. Smith. Some of the voice actors are Robin Harris, Faison Love, Vanessa Bell Calloway. I've never heard of this movie, and the fact that you pulled this out of your ass again is on brand.
Bebe's Kids is a funny movie, but it is
doesn't age well.
It does not age well. It's black culture at its finest, and it's funny.
That's fine. Okay. Well, before we don't age well, let's move on to drafting stock here. So a lot of options. I don't think there's anyone. Have we taken Sean Baker? Have we done Honora? Right? Oh well.
I feel like somebody took Sean Baker.
If anyone was gonna take it, Michael, it was gonna be you.
I feel like
it'd be me. Okay, let me check real quick. I could do a quick search. Sean Baker. Yeah, I took him in our Honora naturally. Woo, what great stock going up, baby. Okay, so outside of that, I think everyone is available here. So let's go to our wonderful wheel.
What do you mean stock going up? How were we doing that?
Well, listen, you gave it a thumbs up. I gave it a thumbs up. I think it's going to get some Academy recognition. Sean Baker's a writer, producer.
So you can't say your stock is going up until it gets Academy recognition.
Wait,
it's on Netflix.
Are we really giving the Academy that much power right now?
It's got some weight. It's got some weight.
They got no.
I mean, at the Critics' Choice, it's been nominated. Like award season's already started. Okay? Yeah, Sinners is doing good. Yeah. I'll figure out a way, like I said, to look at our stock and see where we're at. But for this episode, let's see our order, and let's hope no one gets kicked off. Drafting first.
Please be me.
Dude, this is some bullshit, dude. Erica's first. Somehow.
What do you mean? I went last time.
Like
and the time before that, I went last, second, and last the last couple times.
Drafting second.
Accurate. I don't know if that's accurate.
Poor Adrian.
Michael's the one. I'm telling you, Adrian, Michael's conspiring against us.
Sorry, Adrian. You're going third. I'm going second. Adrian's going first. I mean, sorry, Erica's going first. Okay, Erica, who are you gonna take? Wow.
I don't know. It's between the sisters for me, honestly.
Okay.
Because I think obviously Aijing just does a great job as a child, like really bringing that to life, really showing us kind of what her life in particular is. But the older sister just, what's her name again? Ian
Shiwan Ma.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with her. I just kind of her story across the board. I just thought she did a really good job. I'm going to take Ian.
So yeah, that's played by Shi Yuan Ma. And I think that the weight she has to carry in this movie, I mean, she's really the core of this movie. Like even on Letterboxd, she's like first credit, like she's the first listed. So I think that's a great pick. Okay. I think she did an incredible job. To your point, Erica Aijing, played by Nina Yi. I'm going to take her. I think if she continues to act, she has an incredibly bright future. She's such a natural when it comes to acting. Again, having to carry a lot of the movie, and she does it so effortlessly. I think she'll be great in the future as she rises
She was so
in the
cute
acting
too.
world. Absolutely.
Just
And even when she
adorable.
her emotional scenes where she's crying,
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
a proper
I
kids cry
started
where
crying. I was like, it's going to be okay.
like you see her trying to hold it back. She's trying to hold back crying, and which is just beautiful.
Poor
So,
Gugu.
Adrian, poor Gugu. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go with the director, Shi
All
Ching
right.
Su.
I like
She's
it.
already directed 2 movies, and she's produced 6 more or 4 more. So I think we're gonna see a lot more from her, especially if she's already teaming up with like Sean Baker. I imagine they'll team up a couple more times. So I'll go with the director.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's interesting. She's been in the game for a while. She did Takeout with Sean Baker. That's a movie that they co-directed back in 2004. So the fact that her first directorial movie, like solo directorial movie, is this one, 21 years later.
Mhm.
I think it took some time, A, to get any project off the ground, but B, now that she's got this one done, and it's such a great job, I think, directorially, as far as the decisions made and the pacing and everything, she has a bright future ahead of her as well. So I think across the board, all great picks. Any other thoughts? Left-Handed Girl. Anything else you guys want to mention?
Watch it.
Watch it. It's on
It was
Netflix.
good. It was good. I think it's pretty enjoyable if you want to teach your kids. Maybe not this movie, but
I don't know if they can watch some of these scenes.
some of the scenes.
My daughter
But
would not be watching this.
no.
Fair
But
enough. Fair enough. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening. You can check out all of our socials on Seeing This Pod. Check out our website, seeingthispod.com. You can email us, seeingthisemail@gmail.com. We've got merch out that you can purchase in time for Christmas. They will arrive in time for the holidays. So for those of you guys that have been listening since the beginning, we appreciate you. We got our YouTube Wrapped and Spotify Wrapped, all the end of year wonderful stats. And apparently we're like top 15% of videos on Spotify, which is crazy. But for those of you that have listened since the beginning, appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Be a part of our tribe. Erica's favorite slogan that she says I never say. And until next time, stay safe.
Peace.